She demanded everything in the divorce, until she met my attorney brother in court. Last Thursday evening, as the rain pattered softly against the windows of the home we had shared for nearly a decade, my wife Rachel calmly told me she wanted a divorce. There was no sorrow in her voice, no hesitation. It wasn't a plea or a conversation. It was a declaration. "We're done, Ethan," she said flatly, placing a thick manila folder on the coffee table between us. "These are the terms. I've already retained legal counsel. You'll be served officially next week, but I wanted to give you a heads up." I didn't open the folder. I didn't have to. Her confidence said everything. She leaned back on the couch, her legs elegantly crossed, her voice steady, rehearsed. "I want the house," she began, her tone sharp like the edge of a blade. "I'm taking 70% of our savings, and I'll need alimony for at least 5 years. Given your teaching salary, that won't be much of a burden, unless you try to fight it." Rachel smirked. That smug, pitying smile that says, "You never stood a chance." "I'm being realistic, Ethan," she continued. "You're a high school shop teacher. You barely cleared 60K last year. I'm sorry, but you can't afford to hire a competent attorney. My lawyer's top tier. If you fight this, you'll be bankrupt before we even get to court." I just sat there, staring at the woman I had once loved, who I had built a life with, who now saw me not as a partner, but as an opponent to be crushed. Her aim wasn't just to leave. It was to gut me cleanly and walk away with everything. I gave a small nod, masking my cold fury with practiced calm. Then I said exactly what she expected to hear. "You're right." The moment the words left my mouth, she relaxed. That cruel, victorious smile spread further across her face. "Good," she said briskly, standing and smoothing her skirt. "You'll be served next week. I'm glad you're not going to make this ugly." She walked out of the room, heels clicking, the sound of a woman who believed she had just won. What Rachel didn't know, what she banked on, was that I had no one. Or so she thought. She knew about my older brother, Damien. What she also knew, or thought she knew, was that Damien and I hadn't spoken in over 5 years. Damien isn't a teacher. Damien is a weapon. He's the most feared divorce attorney in the state. Corporate sharks and career manipulators have lost fortunes trying to outmatch him in court. And 5 years ago we stopped speaking after our parents passed away. The fight was ugly, emotional. I wanted to keep our family home. Damien wanted to sell it. We stopped talking, buried under the weight of resentment. Rachel witnessed that fallout. And she made the dangerous assumption that I had no one left. She was wrong. For 3 days after Rachel's declaration, I sank into a kind of fog. Crushed. She was right. I couldn't afford a battle. And the thought of losing my home, my savings, my pride, it left me paralyzed. But rock bottom has one benefit. There's nowhere to go but up. On the 4th day, I dialed Damien's private number with a shaking hand. I hadn't used it in half a decade. I expected voicemail. I expected coldness. Instead, he picked up on the second ring. "Hello, Damien. It's Ethan." There was a pause so long I thought he'd hung up. Then came a voice I hadn't heard in years, softened by time but laced with concern. "Ethan, what's going on?" The words spilled out. Everything. Rachel's demands. Her cruelty. Her lawyer. The arrogant taunt she left behind. "You can't afford a lawyer to fight me." When I finished, Damien was quiet again. Then his voice hardened. That same tone I'd seen destroy men twice his size in the courtroom. "She said that to you?" he asked quietly. "Yes." "All right," he said. "When and where?" "Next Tuesday. Downtown courthouse." "I'll be there," he said. "Don't sign anything. Don't talk to anyone. Just show up." We hung up. And for the first time in days, I felt something like hope flicker in my chest. The courtroom. Tuesday morning arrived, gray and soaked in rain. I walked into the courthouse alone, wearing my one decent suit. I looked every bit like the defeated man Rachel expected me to be. She was already there at the plaintiff's table, polished, poised, and beaming like a queen at a coronation. Her lawyer, an aging smug man named Clifford Ward, wore a self-satisfied grin. They laughed together quietly as I took my place at the defense table. Clifford approached me casually. "Mr. Grant," he said, "I trust you've reviewed the generous terms. If you're ready to sign, we can avoid dragging this out." I stared blankly. "I'm waiting for my counsel." He chuckled. "You have counsel." Before I could answer, the heavy courtroom doors burst open. Heads turned. And in strode Damian Grant. Tailored charcoal suit. Leather briefcase. Eyes like sharpened steel. A hush swept through the courtroom as whispers rippled. Asterisk, is that Damian Grant? Asterisk, even the judge raised her eyebrows. He walked straight to me, clapped a firm hand on my shoulder, and sat down beside me. "Sorry I'm late," he said with a smirk. "Traffic." Then, rising smoothly, he addressed the judge. "Damian Grant, Your Honor. Representing the defendant, Ethan Grant." Clifford Ward paled. Rachel's face crumbled in real time. Her smug confidence was gone, replaced by the unmistakable expression of a woman watching her entire plan disintegrate. Damian turned to the judge and added with icy calm, "My brother doesn't have to afford me. I'm family." The war. What followed was a masterclass in legal annihilation. Damian rejected all her demands. He filed a counterclaim alleging financial misconduct and marital fraud. He demanded a full forensic audit of our finances and repayment for any misappropriated funds. Rachel's world began to unravel when Damian's team uncovered a second bank account, one I never knew existed, used to fund luxury purchases, weekend trips, and gifts. The name Daniel Cross kept appearing. Under deposition, her best friend Lena cracked. Daniel was a real estate developer Rachel had been seeing for over a year. The affair wasn't just emotional, it was financial. She had been draining our joint account to bankroll her new future with Daniel, planning to leave me stripped and humiliated. That was their plan. But Rachel and Daniel never anticipated Damian. Damian buried them. In court we proved the affair. We proved financial misconduct. Rachel's entire narrative fell apart. The verdict. 6 months later, the judgment was final. Rachel walked away with no house, no alimony, no savings. She was ordered to reimburse over $60,000 to our marital account, pay her own legal fees, and was found in breach of marital trust. And Damian, he didn't charge me a cent. But the real victory wasn't legal. It was emotional. Weeks later he called me. "Meet me at the old house." We sat on the porch together for the first time in years. Talked about our parents, childhood memories, mistakes, regrets, and then something shifted. Healing began. We didn't sell the house. We're rebuilding it. Together. Rachel thought she had destroyed me. She thought I was weak, alone. Instead, she gave me the one thing I'd been missing for years. My brother. She wanted me to walk away with nothing. But I walked away with everything that mattered.